Love doesn't always end when the plane takes off. Sometimes it's only the beginning. That was the case for Elena and Nathan, two strangers who had found each other in Florence and lost each other just as quickly. But even oceans could not silence the spark that had been lit. Elena returned to her small studio, tucked above the cobbled streets of Florence. Her days were filled with sketches and coffee-stained pages, but her nights belonged to the glow of her phone. Nathan's messages arrived like tiny bursts of sunlight, a photo of a snowy Canadian lake, a snapshot of a bustling street market, and always a caption that tied it back to her. This sunset reminded me of you. If you keep drawing me, I'll have to start calling myself your muse. She would laugh, roll her eyes, and then sketch him anyway. Because even if miles stretched between them, her art was still full of him. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Messages became calls. Calls became rituals. Every good night, whispered through a glowing screen, carried the weight of 1,000 unsaid words. But with every call came the ache of absence, the empty chair across her cafe table, the missing laugh on Florence's streets. And then one morning, everything changed. A train hissed into Santa Maria Novella station. The crowd surged. And there, cameras slung around his neck, stood Nathan. Elena froze. For a heartbeat, the world was silent. Then she ran. And when their arms locked, the months apart dissolved like smoke. I couldn't stay away, he whispered. I thought you wouldn't come back, she breathed, laughter breaking through her tears. I had to. You're here. And so began their second chapter. They wandered through Tuscan vineyards, staining their lips with red wine and their shirts with clumsy spills. They roamed museums where Elena's voice rose with passion for brush strokes, while Nathan secretly filled his camera roll with pictures of her instead of the art. They learned to taste olive oil the way locals did, to dance with street musicians at midnight, and to watch the sun collapse into gold over the Ponte Vecchio. It felt like the kind of love stories poets dream of, intense, temporary, eternal. But Florence, as beautiful as it was, couldn't quiet the question that lingered between them. One night, on a rooftop under a dome of stars, Elena asked the words that had haunted her since the day they met. What happens when you leave again? Nathan didn't look away. His hand trembled as it brushed hers. Then we'll find a way. I don't want this to be just memories. Distance scares me, Nathan, she admitted, her voice breaking. Me too, he said softly, but losing you scares me more. There was no answer to silence, so they just stayed there, her head on his shoulder, the city lights blinking below like 1,000 fragile promises. But time is never gentle. At the station once more, his suitcase stood between them like a verdict. They had lived a lifetime in 10 days, and now they stood at the edge again. I don't want to say goodbye, Elena whispered. Then don't, Nathan replied. Let's call this see you soon. Promise? Promise. Their embrace was too long, too desperate, too full of tears. And then, the train swallowed him. Elena stood frozen, clutching her sketchbook, feeling Florence collapse into silence. That night, she sat by her window, city lights shimmering through her tears. Her phone buzzed. One message. Made it to Munich. Can't stop thinking about how you made Florence feel like home. Her lips trembled. A tear slipped. And then she smiled. Because this was not the end. Some stories don't need endings, the narrator whispers. Some stories simply begin again. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It really helps me keep growing and creating more content.